Game of the Year has blessed us with some more updates on the game, so we're going to get into this shit right now. Yep, that's right, Crash 4, ever since it was announced and I did my reaction and my thoughts video, oh my god, they've been giving us little bits of gameplay like every week. Like, I feel like I have not forgotten about this game simply because I always see something new. But now they're just giving us a huge update with 3 levels in a demo that they've given to a bunch of people to test out. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people, but we're going to take a look at the article that they just revealed where they gave info on this demo, as well as share my thoughts on the footage that's been released and the opinions of those who have played it and how I feel about that and how much I like the game, basically. So if we go to the Activision Games blog... Wait, Activision published Sekiro? Holy fuck. So if you go to the Activision Games blog, we have the article here. It says Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time, a hands-on look at the game. The Activision Games blog walks through 3 levels, 2 Bandicoot experiences, and 1 alternate timeline Neo Cortex stage to give you an idea of what to expect at launch. And as you can see, they got their little pre-order link there, but that doesn't matter to us because we already pre-ordered the shit. Let's go! Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time is coming on October 2nd, 2020 to PS4, PS4 Pro, and the family of Xbox One devices for my... I like how they don't even say the names of the consoles because they know they're ridiculous. They're like, the family, including the Xbox One X. Yes, we're for real. Alright, we're skipping this fucking article. Before we get into the footage, I just want to confirm a few things that I found out about the game that were not in this article. For starters, they already announced before that there was going to be no microtransactions in the game, but people were a bit iffy because Crash Team Racing kind of said that, and then after the launch, they added them anyway in a future update. So, thanks to Dreamcast guy, who's one of the guys who got the game early, he has confirmed from the developers that there'll be no microtransactions added post-launch either. They have basically said, it's not happening, guys. Shut the shit down. We don't have to worry about that anymore. It's war under the bridge. You know, we know it's Activision, but you can't say it like this and then still do it. That's just horrible. Now, onto the footage. It really looks clean. The new abilities look really good. I think that's the most important thing here, because one of my fears was that they were going to make it too similar to the original trilogy to where they don't innovate anything, but these new abilities have definitely given me hope that that's not going to be the case, because they're going to be woven into the gameplay. And seeing how the game feels like, it's very hard to explain, but you got like linear games, you got open games, and there's also like a middle ground where a game is open feeling at times, but it's still mostly linear. And that's the feeling I'm getting with Crash 4. It feels like it has its open moments and it feels more open than it is, which is a good thing. It's still linear, but it feels a bit more open than it is. It gives you the feeling of freedom while still being a linear game. Like, there were moments in the footage where they were veering off to like areas that I didn't think you'd be able to go there, but you actually can. And there was even an area where there was like a hidden box somewhere. I think this was the Cortex or something. And I was just like, what? The fact that you could even go, like, the level design is definitely not something that I am like concerned about. It looks really good. The 2D looks good, the 3D looks good, and it just, everything's come together so nicely. It doesn't look like they babied the level design or anything. Everything seems like it's still going to be challenging. I don't think they're going to like make the game too easy. Apparently the levels are somewhere in the middle of the game, at least the demo ones that we saw, so it means it could get harder than that. One thing I do want to talk about is that new like colorful drop shadow circle. It's like they've added this little circle so you can like, you know, time your jumps properly, which honestly, I don't know, at first I was like, it's good to have that there because, you know, you played Insane Trilogy, because of the weird hitboxes and the weird depth perception, it was a bit annoying trying to do certain platforming tasks, thinking that you've made it and then you haven't. But then I learned more information about the demo from people that have actually played it, and it's like, now I'm having second thoughts and starting to hope that maybe you can turn off this circle. Maybe they'll allow you to, but I don't think they will. I feel like it'll just be a default thing. But the reason why I'm thinking maybe they should allow you to turn it off is because from what I'm hearing from Canadian guy who actually got the demo, and other people, like even Kadikarus said this as well, basically the controls are very smooth, very accurate, Crash feels very acrobatic now, essentially. Whereas in Insane Trilogy, he felt a lot more stiff, and he's like, you let go of the analog for a little bit, and it's like all this momentum is gone or something. Whereas now it's like, it really feels like you're in full control of the character. And the only real control criticism I've seen for Crash was that the slide was like a bit of a momentum killer, essentially. The slide wasn't good, that they need to work on that. And also some people said that Cortex was pretty stiff, you know, with his dash attack. But with regards to Crash, the general movement, the double jump, everything else was good. The only thing that they criticized was the slide. So with character movement that's very fluid, where you can like make like death-defying jumps, I feel like the circle makes it a bit too easy, because it's like, if you really have good control of the character, you should be able to land your jumps if you're playing well, right? Whereas with Insane Trilogy, because the way the character was stiff, adding a circle like that there would have made sense, I feel. But here, I just hope that there's an option to turn it off, because I feel like it's adding a band-aid to a problem that no longer exists. Like, if they added this as a patch to Insane Trilogy, I would not complain. But with good control and good depth perception, that shouldn't even need to be there, essentially. And I think they've got good control here, and they've got much better depth perception here. I don't know if it's the camera angle or just, you know, it's harder to perceive depth when the character movement is like stiff. That's just how it is. When the character movement is fluid, you can just land things better. It's just natural. And one important thing that was mentioned was the momentum of the double jump. Basically, if you were like, you know, the whole point of a double jump is like when you're platforming, it helps you like get your bearings. Like if you feel like you're overshooting a jump or undershooting a jump, the double jump can come in and like help you out. And with this double jump, if you hold forward, it maintains your momentum from the first jump, so it can be used to go further. But if you don't hold forward while double jumping, then it kills the momentum, meaning if you were trying to use the double jump to land a jump better, you have two different ways on how to land it, basically, depending on if you're moving the analog or not. So that adds for more freedom of control, which is something I really like. And I mean, you definitely don't need it in 2D, let's be real. Cortex gameplay looks really good as well. Those who've played it are saying it's harder than the regular gameplay, and I think the main reason for that is, well, aside from just slightly harder level design, is because Cortex has less like leeway. He has a lot less momentum, and as a result, it's like you have to be more precise with your jumps. Essentially, you can't, there's less room for error, essentially, which makes him hard. I don't know if that's intentional, that they're going to keep that in the final build, or if they're going to change it based on current reaction. But based on the way things are now, yes, Cortex looks like he's going to be harder to play, but it still looks fun. I don't think the Cortex levels look better than the Crash levels, but you have the ability to turn enemies into platforms. Some of them you can jump on, and getting those crates in the Cortex levels is definitely going to be a lot harder, I can tell. I feel like they nailed his personality, like he was even singing in part of the footage, like a lot of good things going on here. On the topic of frame rate and performance in general, based on what I've been able to conclude looking at different footage and what people are saying, it looks like base PS4 is running the game at 30 FPS. People with PS4 Pro are getting 60 FPS. I've seen people run it at 1080p 60 FPS. As of yet, I've not got any confirmation as to whether it's actually going to run at 4K 60 FPS if you have 4K. Because the person running at 1080p 60, I'm assuming had a 1080p TV or whatever, or monitor or whatever, so we don't actually know for a fact if it's going to do 4K 60. I'm assuming at the least they'll do 4K 30, maybe give you an option on PS4 Pro between 4K 30 and 1080p 60, I don't know. But if it does 4K 60 on PS4 Pro, I would be surprised though, because Insane Trilogy couldn't do that, and I don't know if this looks graphically better. I mean, it probably does. But yeah, looking at the chase level as well, like we got to see more of the rail grinding, and it looks really, like, it's not too complex or anything, but it looks nice. It's a nice break of pace on the regular level design, and especially in this level in the footage, you can really see how acrobatic Crash is with his movements. It's something that like people have said who have played the demo, but when you look at this level and see the way he's like moving from right to left and the backwards, like, you know, the running towards the camera chase, you can tell, like, you can tell that you're going to have nice fluid movement. Because in Insane Trilogy, like, if you're going backwards and you try and move from like right to left, left to right, you have to be very like careful with your movements. Like even little things like here where this guy is able to like jump, spin, hit the box and keep going. In Insane Trilogy, that's a lot harder to pull off and maintain your momentum. But yeah, I feel like that's all I have to say. I feel like I've gotten everything out that I wanted to talk about. The game is looking fun. Feels like it's enough to be considered a sequel and not just a copying of the formula, essentially. Like, I know that this is gonna be either Game of the Year or second favorite Game of the Year, probably Game of the Year to be honest, because I mean Watch Dogs Legion has a shot, but for me, I love platforms, you know that. There's very little I can criticize here. Like, I guess the slide jump, hopefully they work on that, and that little circle thing, I wish they had an option to remove it, but I don't think they will, because I don't know, it's just, when you think of like a platformer, like landing on platforms is like the main thing, right? So if they make it too easy, where they've got this like handicap thing, I feel like it takes away from that, especially when the character control is so good that you really shouldn't need that. but you know, I haven't played it, so I can't really give a full opinion on that. But I wish there was like a toggle or something. And those quantum mods are really gonna be fun to try out. Like I'm so looking forward to this. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this gameplay, like, and this information. Are you hyped for the game? Are you more hyped than before? Are you less hyped than before? What have you got to say? Let your boy know. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. More content coming soon to the channel. You know I love covering Crash. Of course, you got other things to cover as well. You know I did the last PREMulous roundup. That's video's doing. It's doing. But yeah, when the multiplayer thing comes out, I'll do a video on it. I'm also going to be doing a Road to Crash 4 series of streams, so I'll be playing all the main Crash titles before Crash 4 comes out. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, it's your boy PREMulous, Rem Gang, and I'm out.